The corner if we're at the media day, and I want to thank all the members of the media that are in attendance today. We've been talking about defense the last couple of years. We've had a pretty good group of kids, and it's going to change a little bit. It's going to flip back over to the offensive side, and the guys that I have with me today, I just want to introduce those guys real quick. I've got senior quarterback Clay Garcia, got a junior left tackle Nate Behrens, I've got a senior outside linebacker Alex Vigil, and a senior inside linebacker Josh Ruff with me today. And it kind of all starts with the quarterback position with Clay Garcia. Had a very fine year last year, was a player of the year in our league, and had over 4,000 yards passing. You know, we expect Clay to have the same type of season this year. What's got to improve is our play up front. You know, really not happy with the way we played at the offensive line position, and Clay got banged around too much. We didn't run the ball well enough, and although we won some games and had some success, it was despite the play up front rather than because of it. We had a great spring. We've got Scott Carey back coaching our offensive line. He was our offensive line coach back when we had a pretty good team in 04 when we were throwing the ball real well, but also rushing the ball for over 150 a game. And it was really great to see what we could do with the running game this spring. And I guess in the spring when you don't have Mark Scheichel and Blaine Sumner and Caleb Anderson to have to block every day, it helps a little bit. But our play was very, very good and improved up front. You know, Nate Behrens, we're going to move him from right tackle to left tackle. That's the only hole that we had to fill on the offensive line, and we've got 4 starters back. Zach Keller's back at left guard. Preston Linzer's back at center. Adam Seibel started every game as a true freshman at right guard. We're going to play him some at center. He was injured during spring. We got a chance to see Joe Perfield, a young guy, a 6'7" guy, play, and he is not going to get moved out of the right guard spot. He played too well to move him. And then Kyle Frachel is a senior and is going to start for us at right tackle. We've got a lot of depth at offensive line, which we haven't had for a long time. It seemed like you always had 6 guys that could play. We've got more than that now. When you talk about wide receivers, Cody Rankin, Gerard Doucette are both juniors. They combined for 163 receptions last year and 17 touchdowns. We were really sophomore heavy on the offense last year. We got a lot of juniors back. Those guys are as good as you get, and you can see that some of the coaches agree as far as the preseason all-conference. We've got to replace our 2 tight ends. Both those guys were great, 155 receptions amongst them and 16 touchdowns. We moved our backup quarterback, David Pavelic, to tight end, and he looked like he'd been playing it all his career. He's a big kid. He's 6'3", 230 pounds, really runs well. Feel good about him at H. Now we have to have 2 guys step up at Y, and that's senior Scott McManigal has played a lot for us, and then another quarterback. I think we moved 5 quarterbacks to other positions this last spring, and Ryan Weimer's another kid that can play for us at Y. The run game I talked about, we got Dan Palmer coming back. He rushed for almost 700 yards last year, and a punishing runner. He's 230 pounds, and this is the first season he's coming into that he knows that he's going to play. He didn't know what to expect last year, and I'm very excited about him. We're going to have sophomore Zach Noonan back starting at fullback. We're in a lot more 2-back stuff we have been in the past. We got a freshman, Tevin Champagne, came in January, went through spring with us, and he's something we've never had at running back, and he's a real compliment to Dan Palmer. Different type of running back, and he brings that put your foot in the ground and go. He's an exciting guy. Moving over to the defensive side, we're going to be young, but probably the most athletic we've ever been. Our 2 outside linebackers, Alex Vigil and Henry Ketzer, are probably the best we've ever had at that position. And we've also got Taylor Jeske, a senior that was a transfer a year ago that adds some depth there. Our linebackers, we got a ton of them. I think we got 9 guys we feel like can play. Josh Ruff returns at inside along with Alex Laudenschlager, a kid from McKinney, Texas. He's just a sophomore. And Tyler Denson, a kid from New Braunfels, Texas, which is just a sophomore. We've got Chris Pinson, a redshirt freshman from Allen, Texas, and Nick Jones that'll definitely get some reps at inside linebacker. We've never had this type of depth at linebacker. It's going to be tough to get them all on the field. D-line, it's going to be tough. Those three guys that we lost, one's with the Jacksonville Jaguars, one may sign here soon with the Redskins, and I just got off the phone with a general manager from a CFL team that wants to sign possibly Blaine Sumner. And those were good ones for a long time, and now we've got to replace them. We've got some guys that really have been waiting for this time to get on the field. Sam Frazier, a junior DN from McCook, Nebraska. Kelly Zimmerman, a sophomore DN from Grand Island, Nebraska. And Curran Vite is a nose guard from Monument, and Eric Lee, Jake Utley. We've got some suspects there. They just haven't had a lot of time. They played well this spring for us. In the secondary, we got a senior cornerback, Bumiata Tutu. Junior Josh Geis is going to play some there. Justin Neal started for us. And we got some other guys that really haven't been tested. Trevor Florendo is going to move from running back to corner. I think that's going to really suit him well. And at safety, Ryan Wood had a great freshman year. And we're going to put Tyler Palmer back there with him. And we've got some other guys that are some big question marks. Special teams. Taylor Accardi is just a junior. He was second in the country in punting. And Cody Rankin will be our punt returner, kick returner. And Blaine Sadoff is our long snapper. And I mentioned Blaine because he is so solid. That's one of those positions that you don't mention a lot until you don't have one and you're struggling at it. And we've been lucky enough to have Blaine for the last 4 years doing that. I talked last year. Every year it seems like I'm talking about a freshman kicker. I'm talking about a freshman kicker again. And Paul McVeigh did a nice job, came in as a walk-on last year, injured his neck in the off-season, and is going to have to redshirt this year. So we're going to have 3 returners competing in fall camp, plus a freshman from Durango, Avery Llewellyn, is going to come in and compete for that starting place kicking job. But, we got a nice team. They're dedicated. We had over 50 kids stay this summer working out. And, we've got a chance to be a good team again if we can stay out of the training room. We always talk about that. If you stay healthy in the RMAC, you can be pretty good. If you get injured, maybe there's a drop-off with those backups. But with our frontline guys, I feel pretty good, and I'm excited to get them out on the field. We open with William Jewell. We're going to fly out there. It's North Kansas City in Liberty, and we come home for South Dakota Tech the next week, and then we open RMAC play with New Mexico Highlands at home. Any questions?
Questions for Coach Stitt? All right, Coach, we have a couple of questions for you.
Coach, you talked about the production, obviously, of Clay Garcia a year ago. Do you see him as one of the favorites for the Harlan Hill Award this year?
He was a finalist last year, I think final 9, and to win an award like the Harlan Hill, you got to have people around you. Clay's going to do his job, and he's going to be productive, but you got to have a good team around you, and you got to win a lot of football games. You got to make the playoffs and get on the national stage to win one of those. And so I hope he's in line for it, because then that means that we got a pretty good football team.
Coach, Mark Scheichel signs with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Did you have a chance to talk with Mark since he's gone to Jacksonville, and what are your thoughts on his fit with that team?
I think it's a great fit. Indianapolis wanted him. He needed to go to a 4-3 team. There was a lot of teams that talked to him about being an outside linebacker, and I think Mark needs to be going forward and rushing the passers. So the 2 teams that like the speed rush DNs were Jacksonville and Indianapolis. He chose Jacksonville. He thought that was the best fit. I did talk to him a couple days ago. He had just gotten to Jacksonville and ready to practice. I have not talked to him since they've practiced. But it's an exciting thing for any of the RMAC kids to get a chance to get into the NFL camps. That's a priceless experience, and hopefully you can make a little money doing that.
You're playing at CSU Pueblo National TV. What are your expectations in terms of just the atmosphere for that football game?
Oh, it's going to be a great atmosphere. Pueblo is a football crazy town, and it's going to be great for CSU Pueblo. It's going to be great for our program, and it's going to be great for the RMAC. We need national attention. You know, one of the other questions is when are we going to get 2 teams into the playoffs? You know, we need national exposure like that so it can be a normal thing year in, year out that we get into.